Let's go play some poker.
Hey, y'all hoes ain't no fool for this one.
We are here at the Great Canadian Casino playing some 1-3 poker. I called ahead and we were number 4, so we gotta wait, I don't know, about 15 more minutes or so. Without further ado, let's play some poker. Thank you.
Thank you.
So we just finished up a 3-hour session there, and the table that I was playing at had about 3 regulars, and within the first 5 hands or so, we got into a interesting battle. So we are on the button with pocket queens, and it folds all the way around to the hijack to where he bets out for $20. The cutoff calls, and we call with our pocket queens, and we are going through raise to a flop of ace 9 10. So I am not a fan of the ace showing up there. It is the last card that I wanted. But before we get too worried about it, both players go ahead and check to me. And you can make a debate for betting in this spot, but I feel like our main concern is getting check raised. In the event of us actually getting check raised, it can put us in a very, very weird spot. So we decided to play it safe and check. The turn comes a 5 of hearts. The original raiser bets out for $30. The cutoff folds, and now it's heads up. I think it's a pretty straightforward call here. We don't want to bloat pot too much, so we decide on a call. So the river brings in another 9, and I'm not particularly worried about the board pairing. I think we are pretty good here with queens. And he decides to check it to us, and as soon as he checks it, I immediately know that we have the best possible hand. I'm trying to think what hands he has. I'm maybe thinking he has maybe king 10 or jack 10. So I think if we do bet small here, I think it's pretty face up that we have an ace. So we decide to kind of go for a bluff bet, and we actually bet pretty big here. We bet pot. He thinks for about 2 minutes and checks his card, checks his chips, and he calls. And we turn over our queens, and he shows over pocket jacks, and we take it down. So in this hand, we are in the hijack with ace queen. It folds around to the middle position, in which he raises to $25. The low jack calls, I call, and the bun calls. So we're going 4 ways to a flop, which comes pretty favorable actually. Comes ace queen 5, so we nail top 2 pair, which is amazing. Now it's a kind of a sticky spot of how do I get max value. Since we hold both the ace and queen, it's pretty unlikely that they hold a ace or queen. Action checks over to me. And a little history with the player on the button. He is a super aggressive player, and he has 3-bet me in multiple spots. So we want him to 3-bet us. So in order for him to 3-bet us, I think a good sizing is a super, super small sizing. So we throw in 10 bucks. So after our $10 bet here, he then raises it up to $45. So we pretty much read him like a book, and we are, well, on the inside we're happy. Obviously we're not showing that, but we are happy as a, so we just decide on a call, in which the turn brings a 5 of hearts, so it's pretty much a brick. I'm not worried about that card at all. And we go ahead and plan out for a check raise. So we check, and he bets out for $50. And he has about 350 behind. So we are pretty much setting up for a jam on the river. We check raise to 110, and unfortunately he does fold. Okay, so we're gonna go over one last hand here, and before we get into it, spoiler alert, we do not scoop in any chips. Under the gun limps in, and it folds all the way around to us, where we raise it up for $25. It folds back to him, and he calls. So we're going heads up to a flop, which comes ace, deuce, deuce. So we flop top pair with a decent kicker. So far, so good, right? So he checks to me, and I decide to bet for half pot, in which he quickly check raises me to $70. It is very strong, but with a top pair and a decent kicker, we are not going anywhere, so we toss in a easy call. So the turn comes a jack, and this is where things get a bit weird. So after about 15 or 20 seconds, he takes a look at my stack. He takes a look at his, and he goes ahead and chips it all in for about 250 effective, I think. So it is a big bet overall, but turning two pair is nice. I think it's very, very important to kind of go back and see what he did pre-flop. In 1-3 poker, especially in low stakes, people tend to limp in with hands like ace-5, ace-deuce, any suited connectors. He's really only repping one hand here, and that's ace-deuce, unfortunately. I think about it for about 3-4 minutes, and I end up folding top two pair. It's a really, really tough fold, but the fact that he limped in and then proceeded to check raise me on a board that has ace deuce deuce, it is just so unlikely that he has any other hand than ace deuce. It just irks me. For the rest of the session, I was just thinking, damn, okay, he must have had ace deuce. He must have had ace deuce, right? Sometimes at poker, you just gotta trust your gut, really. But anyways, we still bag the profit, and that's what matters, baby. All right, I'll see you later.